Welcome back to Dixie Alley Weather Center. My name is Caleb Crick, and I am very excited to get into my second monthly prediction video. Like usual, in this video, I will be giving you my predictions and my forecast based off of models, weather info, and climate analysis to give you an idea of what kind of weather we could see across the Dixie Alley this month. Now, this video is going to be a little different from the other videos I've done in the past. First off, I am going to be talking more about the future weather than the present weather. Second, when I say what could happen in the future, that doesn't actually mean it's going to happen exactly like I described. I'm just making an educated guess based on what models are seen for this month and also what I see for this month. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But before I talk too much about the future weather, I know I haven't had a video in the last couple of days, so let's talk about what's going to happen in the next couple of days. Well, right now, looking at the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 outlook, you can see not a lot in the way of showers and thunderstorms unless you are along the Gulf Coast or along parts of the East Coast. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms expected along the East Coast, very far along the East Coast, North Carolina, South Carolina, I mean barely out there. Most of this is going to be out to sea where many inches are going to be falling out there in the sea. Nothing we got to worry about mostly on the East Coast. But also, there may be a chance for some flooding along the coast of Louisiana, the coast of Mississippi, Alabama, and along most of Florida, where we're going to have a lot more rain being dumped along this area as we go throughout the next couple of days, where this cooler air is mixing with the warmer air in the Gulf. That will create more of a tropical environment, a lot more of a more humid environment, which will spawn a lot more showers and thunderstorms throughout the area. But farther off to the north, dry and cooler temperatures remain the story as we go throughout the next couple of days. But because we will have all that excessive rainfall and maybe some training showers and thunderstorms throughout parts of Florida, we do have a marginal risk of flash flooding in central and southern parts of Florida, and then maybe in parts of southwestern Louisiana. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms may train over the same areas, could cause some localized flooding. Look at that area in Texas and New Mexico, though. A lot of moisture coming out of the Pacific, actually, the Pacific Northwest, and that will bring a lot of moisture into this area, cause a lot of problems with flooding. I wouldn't even be surprised if they upgrade this to a moderate risk in the coming days with all the heavy rainfall we could see in a short amount of time across these areas. A lot of heavy rainfall. I'll be tracking that for you guys in Texas. I know you guys aren't part of the Dixie Alley, but I will continue to monitor that flooding threat. It will be a dangerous thing. Not expecting anything like that big flooding, flood that we had earlier in the year with a lot of deaths that occurred with that. Nothing to that magnitude, we're hoping, but we'll continue to monitor that threat and also the threat for some minor flash flooding in areas like Florida. And really quickly, before we move on, we got to talk about the tropics. We got an area of development, potential 30% chance of development over the next 7 days over here in parts of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, with the question, will this curve or will it continue to move off towards the Caribbean is still the question. We do expect it to move off to the north and west as it begins to gain momentum. We expect this to develop pretty rapidly, actually, as it moves off the coast of Africa. Where this goes is still uncertain. We have most of the models developing it now, a few models developing into a hurricane. But once again, we will have to monitor this. I don't think this is going to go south into the Caribbean, but there's a chance that it still moves, south of Bermuda and then maybe even hits the United States. Once again, don't take my word for that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not even saying that's likely to happen. It's definitely not likely to happen. It's more likely that it curves out to sea, but if we see high pressure build, we will need to monitor this for future development or future impacts to land. But no impacts to land expected right now. We will continue to watch this in those other tropical waves that are continuing to come off the coast of Africa. All right, now on to the future. Here's a look at what the first week of September could look like across the Dixie Alley. You can see this is the week 1 temperature outlook. Here's a look at what the temperatures could look like, and a lot of varying temperatures across much of the Dixie Alley. We're going to have areas that are much above average, areas that are much below average. Let's break it down really quickly. Let's start with the above average temperatures. We expect much above average temperatures at the least in areas like central and southern peninsula of Florida. That will continue. We've already seen those all across central and southern Florida most of the summer. It's been very hot down here. Luckily, we've had those showers and thunderstorms to cool it off a bit in some areas. Slightly above average temperatures continue across most of Florida, parts of southern Alabama, Mississippi, and areas around New Orleans. In Louisiana, maybe slightly above average temperatures for this time of year. Average temperatures in between the below average temperatures, above average temperatures. But right above that is the below average temperatures, slightly below average temperatures parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. I mean, it's small parts of states so you just got to look for yourself. Slightly below average temperatures, but the farther you go off to the north, the much below average temperatures start to come in from Canada. We do expect, as we go throughout, like we've already seen that, the cool air, we've been feeling it over the past, 5 days. Much below average temperatures, much drier air mass farther off to the north. It's felt really great. Now, those temperatures are warming up a little bit, but we will see that drop in temperatures again as a bigger front from Canada, big polar jet stream shoots down from Canada as we go into next week, or as we go into this week. And it's going to cause much below average temperatures once again to fill in to parts of the central and northern parts of the Dixie Valley. And that's why we have much of the Dixie Valley under below average temperatures. Don't get me wrong, it's still going to be hot down here along the coast, but if you're not along the coast, it's going to feel really good as we go into the beginning of September. And moving on to week 2, the same story. Slightly below average temperatures, not going to be as below average off to the north, maybe to the beginning of week 2 in September, but slightly above average temperatures. We'll start to get some of those. And once again, not saying this is guaranteed, locked in forecast. We will be seeing some above average temperatures in the below average temperatures areas, guaranteed. Some areas of below average temperatures in the above average temperatures areas. It's just dependent on where we get showers and thunderstorms, where we get, all that stuff factors into this. This is just a general conclusions based on what I'm seeing with all these models. Slightly below average temperatures off to the north. Areas like the Carolinas will start to get some slightly above average temperatures, we think. The Climate Prediction Center thinks you guys will be a little bit below again. Once again, this is just what I'm seeing with some of the models and stuff like that. I do think you guys will start to, maybe at the beginning of week 2, it'll still be a little cooler here, but as we go into the deeper into week 2, slightly above average temperatures will factor into areas like the East Coast. Much above average temperatures the farther you go off to the south. Florida will start to be baking in that heat, but eventually we might see relief as we go into weeks 3 and 4. And for weeks 3 and 4, this is more of what we like to see this time of year. Average temperatures, maybe slightly below average temperatures, slightly above average temperatures in some areas, but more of a normal weather pattern that we will start to get into. Average temperatures for the middle of September ranging from maybe during the day, 80s to maybe low 90s during the time. We'll have I think we will have some slightly below average temperatures in parts of the Carolinas, parts of the Appalachian Mountains, more cooling. I think we'll have some more showers and thunderstorm activity. I'll show you guys that in a minute, but slightly above average temperatures into parts of the Gulf of Mexico, western parts of the peninsula of Florida. I do think you guys in Florida will start to get a little more cooler temperatures, more seasonably average temperatures. Most of the Dixie Valley will be average during this time period, weeks 3 and 4. Once again, this can change, but this is just what I'm seeing farther off to the west in areas like Texas, and then farther off into the plains, we'll be seeing those much above average temperatures. But once again, not expecting anything much below average temperature, or in the way of much below average temperatures for weeks 3 through 4. I do think we will begin to climb again, but the Climate Prediction Center has been saying we would be hitting those higher temperatures even by now, off in the past, and we didn't. We're still seeing those cooler blasts from Canada, and I hope we will continue to see that because it's feeling great right now. So what's our overview looking like? Well, here you can see North Carolina, South Carolina, slightly below average temperatures. This doesn't mean you guys won't see above average temperatures. You definitely will as we go throughout the month of September. But on average, throughout the month of September, slightly above or slightly below average temperatures. Those will feel pretty good throughout most of the month of September. You guys will have some above average temperatures, but mostly slightly below average. Georgia about average. Doesn't mean some areas won't be below average, some areas won't be above average. This is just on average throughout the month of September. Florida is going to be remaining above average with above average temperatures for most of the month of September until we get into towards the end of September. We will start to see those cooler temperatures start to factor in, hopefully for you guys, because it's been very hot down there. Tennessee, below average temperatures for most of September, slightly below average for Alabama and Mississippi, and around average for Louisiana. Some above average temperatures, some below average temperatures, around average for most of the month of September. Moving on to the week 1 precipitation outlook. This is for the first week of September. This week, that's this week. Here's a look at what the overview is so far. Slightly below average temperatures expected in parts of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and parts of Georgia along the East Coast. Now, we were expecting this. The Climate Prediction Center is expecting highlighting an area in the parts of the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, like this region right here. I moved that farther off to the east because some of the models are showing more signs of more continuous rainfall as we go throughout the middle and end of this week in these areas. That will cause some additional totals that will not lead to below average temperatures. Some areas will be below average, but there will be areas that will be even above average in some of these areas. So I moved that farther off to the east. I don't think areas in the Carolinas will get as much rain as everybody else. Don't get me wrong, things could definitely change in the future. But once again, the areas that will be seeing above average temperatures, most of the Dixie Valley, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, maybe more above average temperatures farther off to the west in areas like Louisiana. And then farther off to the south, in the Gulf, parts of the peninsula of Florida, central Florida, above average temperatures, looking like mostly above average temperatures for at least the first 2 weeks of September. That could change, but for right now, it's just looking like a wet start to September. Week 2, pretty much the same story, except we will start to see some of that drier and cooler air with that second front that will start to come in as we go into the middle of this week. That will cause some rainfall during this week. But the first week of September, but as we go into the second week of September, we do expect areas off to the north and the west to start to dry off more. Areas like northern Mississippi, parts of central and western Tennessee, parts of Arkansas getting in some below average rainfall as we go into the second week of September. Doesn't mean you won't get rain at all. That's not what I'm saying. But maybe less rain that you're used to seeing this time of year. Once again, not drought conditions by any means, but maybe slightly below average rainfall, and then farther off to the east, you guys will start to get your share of slightly above average precipitation. And then once again, southeast parts of Florida seeing the most rainfall as we go throughout throughout week 2. More above average rainfall, more tropical light conditions where those cooler and warmer temperatures are going to be mixing. And lastly, weeks 3 and 4, we're looking at slightly above or more above average the farther you go off to the south. Parts of most of the Dixie Valley, I'll say, around average or slightly above average the farther you go down to the south. Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, parts of the Carolinas. Some of the Carolinas won't get as much rainfall. Some areas towards the north might get more rain. Some areas towards the south. It all depends on what happens. Once again, this is still far out in the future. I'm just making estimated guesses. This won't be perfectly right. Just looking farther out into the future, what's in the environment. More above average temperatures the farther you go off to the Gulf. If you get some more tropical spin-ups. We are expecting those, by the way, as we go into September. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But once again, more tropical moisture, looking like above average rainfall for most of Florida, most of southern Alabama, southern Georgia, once again, the areas bordering the Gulf. Just expect some above average rainfall as we go into most of September. So here is our overview for the precipitation averages. Here's a look. Most areas will be average or above average in terms of precipitation for the month of September, except for areas like Tennessee, slightly below average temperatures. Doesn't mean areas won't be seeing, precipitation. Not like areas won't be seeing above average precipitation, but most areas will be seeing average or maybe slightly below average for this time of year, just because of the cooler, drier air coming off from the north. You guys won't be mad about this because you guys will be getting the coolest of the weather. Will be feeling great, even if we don't have all that rain that mixes in. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, above average or to slightly above average. Georgia and Florida, above average as well. Florida, the most above average out of all. Daily rain chances really don't stop. No end in sight for most of September. Maybe a little bit of a break as we go through the end of September, but for now, it just remains above average in North and South Carolina, about average for this time of the year. Now on to the tropics, which I am telling you are just about to start ramping up for good this season. I do believe we are going to have multiple tropical storms and hurricanes form as we go throughout the month of September. We need to be prepared. Once again, nothing has formed right now. Once again, I will let you know as soon as something is looking concerning, especially for the Dixie Valley. But right now, we're just continuing to watch the possibility for development. We do have, I think, a 30 to 50% chance of development as we go to the first month of August, the first week of September. I do believe that we will have developments, could even be increased, maybe even into a tropical storm or hurricane as we go into the first week of September. That will more likely curve out to sea then continue on a track out to the United States, and that wouldn't happen for over 2 weeks in the future. So we really do not need to watch this really carefully, but I'm continuing to watch this. Don't be concerned about this at all. Another area we do need to watch is off the coast of the Carolinas and off the coast of Florida. We need to continue to watch for potential development with that front that has been moving off the coast of Florida, causing a lot of rainfall throughout parts of Central Florida. That's where we're getting all that rainfall, you guys, in Florida. That has there's a chance that we get a spin up with that, about 10 to 30% chance. I'll continue to watch that. If something spins up quickly, I'll make sure I post a video on it showing you what kind of impacts this will have. If something spins up, it likely won't become a hurricane. It probably tropical depression or tropical storm because it doesn't have as much time when it's this close to the coast. That's why I'm continuing to watch farther out to sea for long-term development, and that's what we are going to look at in weeks 3 and 4. And the reason we do need to begin watching very closely is because this is weeks 3 and 4 into September. We got 2 areas of interest, 2 areas of concern as we go into the 3rd and 4th weeks of September. Now, things can change very hard, once again, to forecast the tropics this far out, but we are in the peak of hurricane season. We need to watch stuff very carefully. There's almost a guarantee we are going to have something in September. It just happens. That's just what happens during September. Once again, the water temperatures are so very warm at this time of year. Anything could happen. I'm continuing to monitor that. As we go into weeks 3 and 4 of September, 10 to 30% chance in the Gulf. We haven't had anything develop in the Gulf yet this year. We are continuing to watch that. There is a chance that something tries to spin up as we go into weeks 3 and 4. And we need to continue to watch that with some of those tropical waves that will start to develop, probably coming off the coast of South America and moving off of Mexico. We need to watch that for some potential development. The heat content in the Gulf of Mexico has not been used yet once. So anything that happens or forms in the Gulf of Mexico needs the most urgent attention. We'll need to continue to watch that. 50 to 70% chance of something going to the Caribbean as we go 3 to 4 weeks out. Now, once again, this isn't going to be right. There are going to be changes in the future. This is just what I'm seeing, so we need to continue to watch that. High pressure will build to the north. That Bermuda high will start to build in, we think, as we go farther into September and cause things to move farther off to the south, maybe even move into the Caribbean. We really haven't even had anything move into the Caribbean yet. That has really been concerning. So we really need to start watching, especially as we go farther into September. Nothing right now, but I will continue to keep you informed. And once again, thank you to everybody who has subscribed to this channel. Once again, I thank you so much to everybody who's been watching my videos. That is all the weather info I brought for you today. Make sure you guys are staying tuned to those tropics. Staying tuned for more updates like this one. This was a special update, September weather forecast. If you know anybody who lives in the Dixie Alley, make sure you send them the link to this video so that they know what's coming for the Dixie Alley as we go throughout the month of September. A lot of stuff that's going to be a wild month, but if we stick together, we can get through it with flying colors. Thank you once again so much for tuning into this video, and I will see you in the next one.